Hi, everyone. I'm Marty Hoffman Byers, the President and CEO of the Berry Foundation. On behalf of our board, our staff, and all of those who are partners and friends and volunteers, I welcome you to a time of gratitude. It's our winter gathering, and while we wish we could be all together, we're going to do something that's so much fun today by having a special program in our 35th year of the foundation. We're going to have some foundation updates and highlights. We're having a special conversation with the North Dakota Governor, Doug Burgum, as well as two outstanding representatives of North Dakota, our Olympic gold Olympians. And we're going to have then some conversation and Q&A. So we just can't wait to get things started. And I'm going to just invite you to use the sidebar for engaging in conversation, as well as for any questions that you might have. We'll be reviewing it and being sure that if we have time, we'll ask your question. So I want to share with you that over the last 15 years, our foundation has had the joy of doing programming along with our grant making, and it's philanthropy and youth. This year we have 20 schools involved in our programming, and our theme for the year is always one of our values. And this year, that value is gratitude. And how we're lifting up that value is we're encouraging everyone to rise up and radiate with gratitude. I'm really proud of all of our team, past and present, and so I want to invite Randy Olson-Heinold, who is our program associate, to give our updates this morning. In a lot of ways, I'm passing the torch on to you, Randy, and I'm excited for the highlights that you'll be sharing with us.
Thank you, Marty. Hello, everybody. It's good to be here virtually, and I see a lot of familiar names joining the chat, so it's good to see everybody here. And I'm happy to be providing you with some of our updates, what we've been up to so far this year and what we have coming up. So first of all, we launched our fall event, our Inspire conference, this past October. And we had to do it again virtually this year, but we made it a little bit more fun by inviting our committees to have a watch party together. So we sent them a beach tote. It was inspired by our Gratitude Sun theme. And they had a beach party, and we had our students part of the video. We had some local speakers and partners as well share about pay and other aspects of our programming. And then each month we have a gathering to help inspire the programming, answer any questions, support our students, and then we like to have a special guest. And this is our 15th year in pay, and so we have invited past pay members, people that have graduated from the program and gone on to use what they've learned in pay in their careers. And so we had our chair, Mr. Tom Berry, start off our Pay Plus meetings with the theme Rise Up and Radiate, and he did a wonderful job. And then we had Angie Schuyler and then Seiko Sastry. These might be some familiar faces to some of you. They did a great job. And then coming up, we have some more friends joining us. Those are the dates there. You're welcome to join in on our website, inspireleadshare.org. We'll be posting updates for those, and then also for replays you can watch. We've got Nate Madsen and Joey Ness, and then we'll close with uplifting some of our community partners. And then to also further along unity among our pay committees, since we won't be doing as much in person, is we're doing a photo project. We did one last year that was really fun, so we're bringing it back in, where we're capturing our moments of gratitude throughout our life. So just you get your phone out, something sparks gratitude, snap a picture of it, and we're going to submit it and display them at our celebration. So these are for our pay students, but we would love to see your photos as well. And so if anything inspires you that you want to add to our project, please do on our website, and there's a link right there. And then coming up in March, we have our pay boardroom presentations. This is an awesome way for our members to for our partners to be involved with our programming and for our students to learn leadership skills and learn how to present. And so they'll do their site visits. Many of them will be coming to your places, so they'll be contacting you shortly if they haven't already, if they want to come check out your organization. And we are really grateful for how wonderful you are with our students and for your past participation in our presentations. And then please save the date for our celebration coming up on May 10th. This is, again, going to be virtual, but we're going to make it as fun as we can. And we're going to be highlighting the latest addition to Berry Hall, which is the Louise Auditorium. This was named after Mr. Berry's mother, who inspires a lot of gratitude throughout their family and continues on for us. And so they just launched that room or opened it up. We've had some events there already, and we're going to be having an interactive experience there for you the week of celebration. So we'll be sending out more details on that, and we're grateful for you to join us there. And then this summer, we have had a lot of fun in the past with our internship program and with Community Corps that we launched last summer. But we're going to be taking this summer to pause and reevaluate all of that programming. We live in a different world now, different needs, and we want to make sure we're honoring where our students are at and where you, our partners, are at. So we're going to be doing some time this summer to evaluate that. But if you do have any opportunities, if you have an event or a program that you are needing some support with, please visit our website, send me an email, let us know what your needs are, and we'll connect you with our students. We have our Berry Scholarship Program. This is where we give a scholarship out to up to $20,000 for their college career for up to 4 years. And we've had a lot of wonderful moments helping our students pass the PAY program. And we were able to extend our scholars a lot further this past year. We opened up a 1-year scholarship as well to 17 students, and we're planning on doing that again moving forward. And then speaking of forward, we also have a program for our forward students. So if you're not part of our scholarship program, but if you've been involved with PAY at all or friends of PAY, we wanted to provide some things moving forward for our students. So here this past fall, we did an event with One Heartland, and we have, I think, Patrick from there joining us, hello, and with Simpson Housing. And so this spring we'll be doing some more events. This is down in the cities. We do have a community of students or graduates down in the cities. And so stay tuned for any of those events and let us know if you want to be involved. And then we have Map the System. This is something we launched last year in partnership with NDSU. And it's through Oxford, and it's a way to tackle some challenging cultural and social problems. And we piloted this program where students get together and come up with solutions to problems. They pitch it at a regional event, and then they can win a chance to go to the global competition in Oxford. We're doing it again this year, and we already have, I think it's 35 to 40 students signed up, and Annalie is leading that as well. So you can reach out to Annalie, visit our website for more information, and stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for April, where you can view the regional competition. All right, that was quick. We got a lot going on. We had a lot to cover, but we have a lot of wonderful things ahead of us. And so as we move forward with our programming, we're so grateful for our special guests today. And just with all of our programming, with our relationships with you as partners and friends in philanthropy, we are grateful for you. And I want to close with this quote from B. John Berry himself: "Gratitude is the best attitude. Pass it on." So here we are passing it on to you. And with that, I'm going to pass it back on to Marty, as she'll introduce our wonderful guests. So thank you very much.
Randy, that was just wonderful. I'm really excited about all of our programming. And as you said it so eloquently, we're grateful for our partners, because without all of you, we couldn't have this enriching experience that is with these young lives that are going to grow and change and make a great impact on the world. Our special guests today are making just that incredible impact in the world. And I think we all have dreams growing up. For me, it probably were definitely, being an Olympian and maybe even being governor. And now as an adult, I have this incredible role in philanthropy. And today I have the joy of introducing our incredible representative from the state of North Dakota, our governor, Doug Burgum, to be in a special conversation with us today. And we've got a little bit of news in that our other special guests are going to be in the spirit of togetherness, but with one of our Olympians. So Jocelyn will be representing both of our Olympians today, Monique and her. Governor, thank you for being with us. You represent and epitomize gratitude as a value, and we couldn't be more grateful to have you share what that means to you and share what it means to be in conversation with the Lamarrous.
Well, thank you, Marty. I am grateful to be with you and with Randy and John and your whole great team from the Berry Foundation. I'm grateful to be invited today, and I'm certainly excited about the opportunity to help moderate a conversation with Jocelyn Lamarrou Davidson. It is gratitude, as you've talked about here, is sort of the theme. And for those listening, I've been asked to provide just a few opening remarks and some thoughts about what gratitude has meant to me and to my family and in my life. But let me just, as I often do, lead with gratitude for the Berry Foundation, for B. John Berry and the Berry family. 35 years of not just generosity, but 35 years of thoughtful giving. The PAY program now entering philanthropy and youth, 15 years. Again, we're so fortunate, so grateful as a region to have this kind of vision and capacity and thoughtfulness into the program. My own daughter, Jessie, had an opportunity to participate in philanthropy and youth. And I know from her and her friends at Davies High School, the impact that had. I think of PAY as like, not just like there's always the old proverbs about the pebble in the pond, where the ripples, extend and keep going and going beyond, that one action of the pebble hitting the still water. But with the PAY, it's not like the ripples dissipate. It's like the ripples start amplifying, and you see it in some of the programming that Randy talked through there again about how the young people that participated in PAY they're not the leaders of the tomorrow. They're the leaders of today. They're out there doing great things right now. I saw Joey Ness's picture on there, the work that he's doing with the First Lady of North Dakota and Recovery Reinvented, and all the other young people that participated in that are going on and having an impact. And we have an opportunity to really have our state and our region become the most generous and the most grateful part of the country. And gratitude has been shown over and over again. It's not just a platitude. Gratitude is something that elevates and lifts people in so many ways. It's been said that gratitude is the mother of all other virtues, and I certainly would have to agree with that, because beginning the day with a grateful heart can change the day, change outcomes, change the way things are going. And I think, again, it's fantastic that the Berry Foundation highlights one of their values each year. In our governor's office, we have 4 values that we talk about, and gratitude is the first among them. And we have so many things as North Dakotans and as citizens of the United States for which to be grateful, starting with the freedoms we have, starting with the incredible education and healthcare system, starting with the infrastructure, starting with just the general opportunity that we have in the freedom. When I was working in a global executive role for a global multinational in technology, I had people working for me in 120 different countries. Some of those folks in those countries did not have the right to vote, the right for free speech, the right to assemble. I mean, things that we would take for granted here in our country as we approach in 2026 our the 250th anniversary. And there's a lot of focus every day about what's broken in our country, and there's a lot left to be fixed. There's a lot of reasons why philanthropy is so important today to make a difference in people's lives. But when we say what's right about what's going on, look no further than our communities, to all of the organizations that are listening in today that are doing incredible work, the philanthropy partners, and organizations like the Berry Foundation that are just every day getting up and making a difference. And there's no place on earth where this is happening the way it happens here in our country. And so we've got so much for which to be grateful for. And I'm really excited about the impact that gratitude can have on youth, and the approach the Berry Foundation. When growing up with Joe, Jesse, and Tom, our 3 kids, one of the things that we focused on was really 2 things. One was curiosity. When I dropped them off at school, I seldom or never said, "Hey, get good grades." I did say every day, "Ask great questions." And then at night when they would come home and we'd be having supper together, I would say, "Tell me about the best question you asked today." Because coupling that curiosity with gratitude, those 2 things together are just a powerful cycle. Because leading with gratitude and leading with curiosity, seeking to understand and gaining understanding through trying to understand people that have different views than you do, can actually expand your gratitude and understanding of their situation. And so, but at night, the thing that we did with the 3 kids always was, before they went to bed, was ask them to think about 3 things from that day for which they were grateful. And that's a practice I know that they continue on to this day. And I think for anybody who's a parent, I know we have lots of parents on the call today. I mean, if you can pass anything on to your kids, the value of gratitude is probably one that's going to serve them well throughout their life. And I do want to say again, for the partners, when needs arise in our communities across the state, I know that some people think that government's the solution to everything and government can make a difference. I believe that it's individuals that make a difference. It's small groups of caring individuals that work together that can change the world. And Margaret Mead said that one time. She said, matter of fact, that's the only thing that can really change the world, is small groups of committed individuals. So regardless of your size or how long your nonprofit's been around, you can make a difference and you can make a big impact. And we want to keep creating environments where individuals and teams and communities and neighbors can make a difference. Because we have often said too, it's not what government says, it's what people do. And people are doing a lot of incredible things in North Dakota. And the work that is being done across all of these organizations that are represented here today, all of your missions and the needs, whether it's food and housing for the homeless, whether it's arts, conserving natural resources, linking young people to behavioral health, which is super important today, focusing on pathways to recovery. Charitable organizations are touching it all. They touch every single way. And I think the amplification work that the Berry Foundation doing is really incredible. And as we think about supporting nonprofits, you're also supporting your neighbors. When we think about North Dakota, 15% of the people in North Dakota are employed by nonprofits. That's almost 1 out of every 7 workers in the state. And so, so many great examples of incredible work that's going on. But we are here today to talk about one amazing set of examples. Our 2 North Dakota Olympians. Being a governor is an incredible job. I'd say greatest job in the world, being governor of North Dakota. But because we have this amazing, great state with amazing people. But one of the very special things you get to do as governor is you get to select and give out, on these rare occasions, people that are meet in the criteria for the Rough Rider Award. And the Rough Rider Award is the highest citizen honor that our state would give. And I would have to say that in my 5 years as governor, the most fun I've had on any single day as governor was the day that I had the opportunity to present the Rough Rider Award to the Lamarrou twins for their achievement. We're going to get a chance to visit with Jocelyn this morning and find out. You're going to find out yourself why I had such a great day that day, because these are incredible individuals that have overcome hardship, broken down barriers, fighting for things larger than themselves, representing our country. And boy, it's an amazing story. We're so fortunate to have him here, we're going to kick off the section, the interview, with a video that'll help set up the conversation that we're going to have with Jocelyn. So let's roll the tape.
The line for the Americans to watch will be Lamarrou and Lamarrou.
Monique Lamarrou Marondo, a two-time silver medalist.
It's Jocelyn Lamarrou Davidson, number 17 in blue.
The Lamarrou twins are from Grand Forks, North Dakota, youngest of 6 children.
Jocelyn Lamarrou, nice finesse move. Oh my! Lamarr!
This is her twin sister Monique. She scores! And Jocelyn Lamarrou scores the 8th goal. Now Lamarrou cuts to the net and scores! A hat trick for Monique Lamarrou.
Front from Monique Lamarrou. Score!
They're so tenacious. That is a highlight goal.
Score!
Finish shown, and now it's Lamarrou with a chance. A shot, score!
More Lamarrous. Keep putting them out there.
Score!
Talk about the twin intuition, and you see it there.
Jocelyn Lamarrou, a two-time silver, comes again and scores! Lamarrou does it again!
Back-to-back strikes for Jocelyn Lamarrou Davidson right off the face-off.
Jocelyn Lamarrou, what a move. Long pass ahead to Monique Lamarrou. Moving it on Samaras. She scores! Monique Lamarrou has tied the game at 2. Jocelyn Lamarrou, 2 goals apiece in the shootout. Lamarrou moving in on Zabadas. She deets and scores!
That's electrifying. That's as good as you're going to see anywhere.
The United States wins gold in Pyeongchang!
The Lamarrou ladies stepped up gigantic in this gold medal game.
It's been a part of our dream to do this together, and to do it in the way we did, it's just, we couldn't have written a better script.
How cool is it to go through something like this with your sister?
Dream come true. It's a dream come true.
Hey, Jocelyn.
Hey, thanks for the nice intro. I want to preface that I apologize if the Netflix show is too loud. My little boy is homesick, and he's very testy with the volume.
Well, no apologies necessary. I'm just probably like everybody watching. I don't know, I'm supposed to moderate this thing when I'm bawling after watching that video. It doesn't matter how many times I see that. It is electrifying. But again, thank you for being with us today, and talk about keeping it real. Here, you and your sister are both dealing with sick kids and with daycare and all the things that are going on. But this is part of life. It's part of what everybody on this call has probably been dealing with the last 2 years. And we're all with you and support you, and thank you for making time. Hope your kids are feeling better, and same for Monique's kids. And we're thinking about you and your children. But part of this great story is you've done all of this, accomplished all this, and you guys are great moms at the same time. So it's kind of perfectly fitting that you're dealing with that today. But I just, to kick things off, one of the themes for the Berry Foundation Day is gratitude. And I know when I heard you and Monique speak before, you've had so many, family members, coaches, opportunities, but maybe just talk a little bit about what gratitude has meant to you and Monique.
I think, just from a young age, we've always been taught to be thankful and appreciative of the opportunities and the people that come into our lives. And so, Monique and I share this a lot. Our grandma Edith, our mom's mom, always told us, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I can remember in her, she used to drive this white Cadillac. It was like as long as a school bus. I remember her telling us that. And I think that being ingrained in us at such a young age just really, I think, set the stage for us to, show graciousness in our entire journey. And I think, when you get to the pinnacle of sport or anything in life that you're trying to accomplish, you don't do it alone. And some people, have moments where they impact your life, for maybe just a season. Maybe it's a coach that stays in your career for many, many years. But you learn to appreciate the impacts that people have on your journey and on your life, and what it means to you in your journey. And I think if that becomes the focus, what you appreciate and what you're grateful for, I think you're able to find that more throughout life. And I think it radiates when you're able to focus on those things.
Well, absolutely. And so great, fun that story about your grandmother. When people see a highlight reel and you see the accomplishments in 2010 and 14, silver medalist. I mean, silver medalist, big deal for North Dakotans, probably crushing for you and your sister who wanted gold. You come back in 2018 and win the gold in the shootout. But people watch the video and they probably go, well, that was simple. But I know that there was actually, like 20 years of overcoming, being an elite athlete at that level. You're overcoming injuries, you're overcoming challenges. Talk a little bit about, for the people here, about perseverance and the role that played, and how you and Monique learned to overcome all the challenges you did to get to where you get to the achievements you did.
Yeah, I think, anyone who's great at what they do, anyone who succeeds in life has adversity that they have to move through at every step of the way. Every level that Monique and I have played at, we've dealt with a certain amount of adversity, whether that was, playing outside in the frozen pond with our brothers, and they would just basically body check us into the snowbank. Playing with boys when there was no girls teams to play on, as we got older. And playing in college, learning how to deal with adversity and really taking our game to the next level from, I would say, good international players to wanting to be some of the best in the world. And then, we never made every team we tried out for on the national team. We did get cut when we were 17 and 18-year-olds. We were the last forwards to get cut. But either way, you go through that, and you become better for it. You either learn from it and grow from it, or you wilt from it. And so we took those hard moments and we became better for it. And we also became better teammates because of it. And then I think, if we did just come out with a book just over a year ago, and we talk about a lot of the adversity that we went through in 2000. Yep, there it is. I would have had mine ready, but been dealing with a lot this morning. We talk about the adversity that we went through in the 2017-2018 season. Monique and I barely made that team. We thought we were getting sent home. We didn't think we were going to make that team for quite a while. And there's some reasons, that we'll never know, but you just show up, go to work, and, we just kind of had the mentality like there's going to be no way they can cut us. You're going to show up and be players that they have to take on this team. And I think we were just able to do that because the amount of work we'd put in through our entire lives, but then also going through adversity before. We've faced challenges, we've overcome them, and that was no different. And I think, we like to think there's North Dakota nice, and then there's North Dakota tough. And we think that kind of showed in the way that we played. We were going to show up every single day and be some of the hardest players to play against in the world. And I think if you asked, some of our Team Canada counterparts, they would agree that they did not enjoy playing against us. And we always took that as a compliment. And so, yeah, I think if anything worth achieving, and, anyone who's great at what they do, they've gone through a certain amount of adversity throughout their journey.
I love that you're giving it to the Canadians in hockey. That's great. That's fantastic. One of the things that I know that you faced specifically, as a team and as a sport, was women's hockey and gender equity relative. And this goes on in business. It goes on in sport. I know that there's probably some people on the call here that knew my mother, Catherine Kilborn-Burgum. That's something she fought for back in the 1970s and 80s. I mean, the battle still goes on. Sadly, we aren't there yet on the gender equity in sports and pay and lots of things. But at some point, that became even bigger than your quest for gold, in terms of the resolve that you had, that was really important. And maybe just talk about that decision where you were playing for the U.S. and playing for gold, but also playing for something much bigger than yourselves?
Yeah, I think, that really became, I would say the cornerstone of what our second half of our career was all about. And we reflect on that time in our career now, and I think that's a moment that we're most proud of. Yes, the gold medal is amazing, and the championships we've won are amazing, but how it changed the trajectory of women's hockey in the United States and globally, I think is what really matters. And so, yeah, in 2017, after about 2.5 years of negotiating with USA Hockey, and basically kind of getting nowhere in negotiations, our team decided that we were going to boycott the World Championships that were being hosted in the United States. And that was ultimately because we weren't being treated equally as our male counterparts. And it wasn't about being paid what the NHL players were being paid. That's a totally different, I would say, argument, because that's in the NHL. Within the governing body of USA Hockey, the amount of equipment that we would get, how we would travel. I think a great example, there's probably a lot of people familiar with hockey on this call, was the goalies for the boys team would always get new sets of gear, and our goalies, who are, they're professional players, they're on the national team, they would only get one set of gear every other year. And so you're thinking, that's not quite fair. So there's a lot of little things that just kind of added up to basically not being valued. And so our team decided we were going to boycott the World Championships. And long story short, what ended up happening was basically the USA Hockey tried to replace all of us. And ultimately they were unable to do that because so many United States women's hockey players were standing with us in solidarity. And I think we were able to do that and create that solidarity throughout a group much bigger than just the national team, because what was driving us was not selfish. It wasn't about just us getting paid more. It was about creating equality across the board. For if the men's national team is treated like this and gets this, the women's national team gets that. If we're spending, $4 million on the U17 and U18 boys teams, what are we doing for the girls teams? And so trying to create equality for opportunity and growth within the sport. And ultimately, I think we did that at the beginning stages. And a new contract was just negotiated over this past year, and then there will be new negotiations coming up in another year. But I think, when you think about what that contract created, it's going to create longevity for more national team players to continue to play. But also, I think it was just a great example of basically young women standing up and saying, enough is enough. Yes, we're grateful to be here, but that's not enough anymore. We want to change the sport for the better.
Well, it's so powerful and so inspiring, and just fantastic. And congratulations, because it takes courage to be an elite athlete, but taking the courage to put your careers on the line and stand up for something, I was probably one of the most courageous acts that you and Monique ever have done. So it adds to the whole aspect of why you're so deserving of the Rough Rider Award. I mean, such incredible, courageous role models. In 10 days, we've got the 2022 Olympics happening, and some of us, it's just like a decision of, are we going to watch on TV or not? For you and Monique, I mean, first time after since 2010 that you're not, packing up and flying, overseas to play among the top, international competition. How does that feel? How does it feel like out of retirement, and how does it feel? What do you feel the chances are for the U.S. team, coming up in China?
Well, I think it's going to be bittersweet to watch our teammates. We've been keeping in touch with them throughout the year, and so happy for them to get to this point, to make the roster. It's been, I think, a very challenging 2 years with COVID, and the challenges that's presented for the players, events getting canceled, games getting canceled. It's just been, I would say, really challenging for all the athletes. So just to be named to the roster and hopefully be flying there and competing right away. Hopefully there's no hiccups or major hiccups, I should say. I think there's going to be, I would say, some bumps in the road for sure when they get to Beijing, but hopefully nothing major. But we're excited to watch. We've been getting asked quite a bit lately if we miss it, if there's a part of us that wants to be there, and I think there's always a small part of us that wants to be competing and wants to be out there and representing your country, but there's also a part of us that understands what it takes to be there. And we both have 2 kids now. Monique's 25, 26 weeks pregnant, and so I think, you get to a point in life where, things start to shift and priorities change. And so I think when we're watching, it'll be bittersweet, but we're just super excited to watch our teammates compete. And then I think, COVID is, it levels the playing field, I think, for all the athletes in all sports, but I think for hockey, because if an athlete tests positive and they're out, what does that mean for the team? I think there's so much unknown that none of the athletes have been through before. It doesn't matter if this is your 3rd Olympics, your 4th Olympics, or your 1st. This is going to be a new experience unlike any other that all the athletes are experiencing for the first time coming up. And so I think it really levels the playing field from an experience standpoint and how the teams best manage. I think the stress around all of it is just, I think that's going to be what carries teams through to the medal rounds. And ultimately in the one and done deals, we wanted a shootout last time. One player can be the difference. And so I hope that, some of our old teammates basically look themselves in the mirror and say, why not me? Why can't I be the one that helps our team win? And so I'm really excited to watch. But I think it's going to be a toss up, and how teams move through the round robin is going to be very telling, I think, for who can come out on top.
Well, we'll certainly be keeping our eye out for them. And I want to also say, when we got all these partners on the call, too, that you and Monique have started a foundation. Maybe you want to just talk a little bit about the goals and aspirations of the Lamarrou Foundation.
Yeah, so basically, we started our foundation after the Olympics, kind of flying by the seat of our pants, and ultimately we want to make the biggest difference we can for North Dakota youth. We'd been traveling kind of all over the country doing different events in inner city schools, and ultimately we said, what are we doing in North Dakota? What are we doing in Grand Forks, in our home state, to make a difference? And my son is blowing bubbles with his sorry. And so we basically just kind of decided, we're going to do what we can and make a difference where we can. And so ultimately, I think the best description of what we're doing is cheering for the one behind. It's what our mom always told us growing up when she was cheering for one of us. If we were competing against each other, it was, I'm going to cheer for the one who's losing, basically. So we cheer for the one behind. We want to help kids, give them the opportunity to reach their full potential. Sometimes there's circumstances that are out of, kids' control, whether that's, finances or stresses that things that, I didn't have to deal with growing up. And we want to eliminate those barriers for kids so that they can ultimately be the best version of themselves. And, it's about creating a level playing field. It's not always, equal outcome, but it's about creating an opportunity for people to reach their very best. And so whatever that means in the game of life, Monique and I want to help with that. And so an example that our foundation gave back to was we equalized the lunch program in Grand Forks so that all kids received a hot meal. All kids were receiving a meal, but it wasn't a hot meal necessarily. And so we made sure that all kids in the Grand Forks public school system were receiving a hot meal for the school year, things like that. I know how I am when I'm hungry. And so no child should be, worried about, the stigma of having a cold lunch, or worried about if they get to eat that day. And so that was something that Monique and that was our first big donation. And so things like that, essential needs items, we try and meet the needs of young kids. So young girls in Fargo, we provided feminine product dispensers in all the Fargo public schools, and then an allotment for those to be filled. Young girls, it's 1 in 4 girls miss a day of school at least a day of school throughout their lives because they don't have the appropriate products. And so things like that, things that matter, things that impact our day-to-day lives, those are the things that we want to help alleviate, or stresses that we want to help alleviate or offset for young kids.
Well, I know making a difference for those kids in school and young women, and certainly on a day like today when it's below zero, the hot meal I'm sure is well received. I know, Marty's, we've got questions coming in online from our audience. We've had some that were submitted ahead of time. Marty, do you want to jump in and share some questions from the viewing audience?
Absolutely. Thank you both for this wonderful conversation. I've just been enjoying it, like everyone. And I'm going to just offer the first question from one of our Philanthropy Forward students, who also, along with receiving a book today, all of our guests are going to receive a book discussion guide that was produced and written by Molly Hoff, one of our Philanthropy Forward students, who asks this question. Certainly you've done already so much with 1 year, Jocelyn, with the foundation. What are you hoping to do next year with the foundation, and any thoughts in the future?
Well, ultimately, the next big, Monique and I, with having kids, we're like 1 year at a time, because one of us is having kids for like the last 4 years. But right now, we're focused on continuing to help build our Grand Forks base, or to help with Grand Forks Public Schools, but also reaching out into other North Dakota communities is, I would say, our big picture item. So this past year, we went into Fargo Public Schools, tried to see what the need was there, and so now we're going to start reaching out to other communities in North Dakota. And see what the need is. We don't, I think the big thing for Monique and I is we want to create flexibility with what we're doing. We don't necessarily want to come into communities and say, this is what we're doing here, and we think it works. Let's do it over here in all these other communities, because I know what's needed in Grand Forks wasn't needed in Fargo. There was already a program that was similarly established, which we had built in Grand Forks. Or helped build in Grand Forks. And so we want to be flexible. We want to, what is the need in each community, and how can we support that? I think that's, the flexibility that we want with our foundation, and to work with people. That's ultimately, we want to build relationships and work with people. We don't want to come in and kind of, I guess what we say, we don't want to come in and flex our muscles and say, this is what we do. We want to come in and be a supporting act, and I think fly under the radar to a certain extent, but also create a lot of awareness around the things that we're trying to help with. I think that's part of what our platform is all about, is using our voice to create awareness. And so that, I would say, that's our big thing for this upcoming year, is finding, the next North Dakota community that we're going to hopefully step into and help make a difference for young kids.
That's really insightful. And I think back 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to sit down with our founder, B. John Barry, and help him memorialize his legacy statement so that we would have a guide. And he said, he had these Barryisms, I call them. And he said, Marty, we should not wear cement overshoes. And I think that really speaks to that flexibility, not being stuck in one way, just to be open-minded, to be having a growth mindset, and to partner with our friends and people, and that can lead to more creative and innovative solutions. We have another question and a whole series of questions that came in when people RSVP'd. So if we don't get to them today, we might follow up with them. But there's one from Amanda Gari, and it's for both of you. And because you are both leaders and excel in your professions, could you share something that you have in a morning routine that helps you, rise up and radiate?
Let's see. I would say since kids, that morning routine has drastically changed. But I would say what I focus on is probably what's most relatable now that, I'm a mom, not just an elite athlete. I would say I think training and working out is a big thing for me, slightly obsessive probably, but if I start my day out with that and I'm feeling good and healthy, it just propels me throughout my day. And so whether that workout in the morning gets interrupted or not by early wake ups with kids, I just feel the best version of myself. And then I get a cup of coffee. And I think just starting the day out like that just sets the tone for, what's to be done. And instead of, I feel like chasing the alarm, I don't hit snooze. I think, the alarm goes off, up, out, on to the next thing. I think it makes it hard when you're chasing your alarm to be the most productive you can be. And so I think that's my big thing, is having a productive, first hour of the day really sets the tone. I think, when it's a slow moving morning, I really feel like I'm kind of dragging, and I know Monique feels the same way. And, if it'll be 5 a.m. and we'll send emojis to each other, you got this. Yeah, I think that for me personally, that's what I think just gets me going for the rest of the day.
How about you, Governor?
Well, I think the morning question's always a tough one for me, because I think people that have known me my whole life know that I'm the certified night owl, and have done a lot of great work after everybody else has gone to bed, because maybe that was the time when you'd stop getting emails and texts and all of that. And been in late night reading has always been a time when I've been trying to move things forward. But in the morning, in the last 5 years in this role, we think back about really agreeing with Jocelyn. Getting the morning set up correctly sets you up for the whole day. And when you think about the 5 years that we've been in office, Catherine and I, we've been in emergency management mode since we started. And when we took office, we had DAPL, then we had droughts, then we had floods, then we had droughts, then we had COVID. So it's literally been this thing where every day your phone is blowing up with inbound stuff that you can't control. And I think everybody in the state has my cell number. And so it's like you're getting all of this inbound stuff. It's very easy. It would be very easy in the morning to pick up your phone and then have things just be reactive the entire day based on, the crisis du jour and the emergency management du jour. So I have really tried hard to be disciplined about having a space in the morning for gratitude meditation. 10 minutes every morning, no phone, try to do that and really get centered around that attention to, develop, as you talked about, have that grateful heart, because that can change everything in terms of your perspectives about how you handle stuff. And I fight for that 10 minutes. And then if I can add some exercise, on the Peloton or something on top of that, and then a few other things, then if I can turn it into a half an hour or 45 minutes, then things are really good. But even on the days when there's nothing, you got to take that time and reflect. And I see we're close to closing, but I got a couple other questions that came in, Jocelyn. I'm going to wrap two of them together. One came from Jackie Matfield from Lost and Found Recovery about what advice do you have for young female athletes and their parents. And then Marilyn Guy, who is the longtime president of Oak Grove High School in Fargo, said, what's the most important way for grandparents to support their granddaughters as they participate in sports? you mentioned your grandmother in one of the earlier answers. Now you and Monique are parents. Talk a little bit about parents and sports and how to support young women, and as because we know that youth sports makes a difference in our communities.
Yeah, I think the first thing that comes to mind in supporting young girls, I think it can go for parents and grandparents, is have the same expectations that you have for your sons, for your daughters, from a work ethic standpoint, being a good teammate standpoint, showing up and being the best they can be. I think sometimes the emphasis for young girls and young boys can be different. And when we're talking about sports, we're talking about, being an athlete. And that's at Shattuck. That was a lesson we learned from our coach, Coach Stafford. He said, I'm not going to treat you like girls. I'm not going to treat you like boys. I'm going to treat you like athletes. I'm going to treat you like hockey players. And so I think that always just went a long way. The expectation was the same. It didn't change because we were girls. And I think, I see a lot today, the opportunities that parents will push their sons to versus what they push their daughters towards is different, and the expectation is different. And I think that's a disservice to our young girls. And I think, when you think about women who are very successful, a lot of times they played a high level of sports. They competed at a high level in high school and then on into college, and that translates into life. The lessons we learn in sport are great lessons that can propel us into being successful later in life. And so I think that's probably the biggest piece of advice I would have. And then I remember, there were 6 of us in our family. We had 4 older brothers. Our grandma was equally as much a part of the pickups and drop-offs for different sports as our parents. And so our grandma would pick us up, drop us off, and she'd give us probably not the most healthiest snacks on the car drives. But they were just a part of the journey. They were, she was at the games. Our grandparents that were up in Canada, they would come and watch us in tournaments, and just there as a supporting role. And so I think, we're there to, I think grandparents should be there to enhance the journey, but also, emphasize the right things, emphasize the important lessons along the way. It's not just about, goals and assists, emphasize the work ethic. Are you having fun? Are you a good teammate? And the rest, I think, follows after that. I'll have to get your Peloton username. We can ride against each other.
I don't want to be in that competition. But I do think there's something beautiful in that. The journey is the reward. And we've had a tough go for, as Governor Burgum said, we've been in crisis mode for a long time. And when we're faced with adversity, if we rise up and radiate, that can ripple and allow others to embrace positivity, embrace flexibility, persevere, have that grit, and continue on. And sometimes we just need something outside of ourselves. For me, that's an artifact oftentimes, and it's my family. And I want to just ask you each, if there's an artifact that you go to that is a display of your gratitude and something that you share with your kids or your family, your friends, that is important in telling you your story. For me, this is my artifact is this beautiful Mustang from Rough Rider country in North Dakota that my husband gave me for our wedding. Just to always have home, like the state of North Dakota that's on your chest, Jocelyn, right into my heart. So just wondering if you both have an artifact that you can share that celebrates that gratitude.
I'll start. I have 2, but one is this one's an easy one for me. And it's not just about the medal. It's, it's always been so much more than that. And I think, what we talked about today that's what it's all about, is showing, gratitude every step of the way for the people that have made the journey what it is. And finding gratitude even in the tough moments and in the relationships that maybe weren't as helpful, I think still make us who we are. And so finding a way to appreciate those difficult things, I think, is also important. And one thing that when you talk about radiate, I read a quote the other day from our sports psych doctor for many years. She said, if you want to help light up the world, help other people light up their light. And I think that's ultimately what, the Barry Foundation is all about. It's what our foundation is all about. It's, we have a platform to help impact others. And if we can impact others in a I would say in an important way, in a meaningful way, hopefully that's reciprocated down the road. And that ripple effect goes well beyond what we can even imagine. And I think that's what's most important in the journey of life. And I had another one, but I should probably just end it on that. But at the lake, I don't have the painting, but it's a painting of me and my grandparents looking out at their lake cabin. And so appreciating the people and the family, the people, who are there. When I think, I have this shirt on, it's not a coincidence. What makes North Dakota home, and its family, and it's the people that have made this place special. And so I think about that painting. It was made for me, and what the people in my life have meant every step of the way. Is just from a personal standpoint. I think that's something that I look at and reflect, and just very appreciative of all the opportunities that I've been given and the support I've had along the way.
Beautiful. Governor, for the last word.
Well, I would just say I do have I think people know that my dad passed away when I was a freshman in high school after a 2-year battle with cancer. I've got a picture of he and I when in Arthur out in the snow on a very happy day when in a beautiful North Dakota clear cold day, and it reminds me that about his life of service, the serving World War II after Pearl Harbor, the sacrifices he made, and then also that life can be short. I mean, he passed away at age 54, and so I've had an attitude since he's been gone that you got to make every day count. And so it's a little bit like Jocelyn talking about getting up and getting going. I've been doing that since the day that he passed away, and so I think about that. And then in terms of actual objects, so that's a great photo that I see every morning. But I've got a couple of I won't say what they are, but I've got some secret amulets that are small, 3 of them that I put in my coin pocket of my jeans every day, and they're all related to sort of gratitude and the perspective of the long history of the land, and that we weren't the first ones here, and we're not going to be the last ones here. Help me sort of understand the longer term nature of where we are in the I would say in the confines of space and time. But anyway, those help me get going and keep perspective. And if I'm having a rough day, sometimes I just touch those and it helps ground me.
Thank you. Thank you both. This has been a meaningful hour. Jocelyn, we want to thank you and Monique and your families, as well as you, Governor, and your families for being such wonderful friends of the Barry Foundation, friends of everyone on this call. And we're grateful for this time together. It has been a wonderful time of gratitude. We appreciate you.
And we're grateful for you, Marty, and all the people at the Barry Foundation, and obviously Jocelyn and Monique. Thank you guys for being such amazing people and amazing North Dakotans and amazing mothers and amazing role models. And Marty and your team, thanks for putting all this together. Grateful for you and the huge impact that you're having and the Lamarrou Foundation's having and all the other foundation partners on here. Go North Dakota.
Absolutely. And on that note, I want to thank our team, because our team has really made this a special time. And I want to thank John. He is our producer, John Melgard, and he's come on to do this beautiful event. I want to thank Nick Wrighton, who has been working on the interactive portion. He's our office associate. I want to thank Randy again for talking about our program. And we picked this quote to leave you with. We are part of something bigger than ourselves. We want to thank all of you for being partners, friends in philanthropy, and giving back to society, giving of yourselves in so many ways, heart, soul, and mind. Together for a Shared Future is the official motto of this year's Winter Olympics. And I think that togetherness is what we can all celebrate. And I'm so glad that the Olympic motto has included that word together. It's faster, higher, stronger, together. And I'm grateful for that and grateful for all of you. We want to invite you to join us again. So mark your calendar on May 10th for our Philanthropy and Youth Celebration, where we lift up all of the nonprofits and all the students that have been engaged in philanthropy, over 500 students in our region who go on site visits and learn about nonprofits and the impact that they're making, and then honor them. So we look forward to seeing you back in a few months. And lastly, we'll be sending you a gratitude gift. As you know, it's this book and also a discussion guide for you to pass that message along that the Lamarrous have shared. And we have a candle for you too, so you can reflect on this bright moment and the bright moments that you are for others. Thanks again for being with us. We miss you all.